Hey, what's crack-a-lackin'? My name is LikeIt's1985. This is my review of Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Sergeant Kup. And as you can see here, Sergeant Kup here is colored in various similar colors as to the Generation 1 Kup that we see in the cartoon as well as in the toy. So that is cool. I like the paint apps here in the front. The grill here, the bumper, really nice paint apps there as well as here. So that's pretty cool. And you do have these weapons that actually store in the bed of the pickup. They're pretty nicely detailed, as you can see there. And they can also be plugged into the side of the vehicle mode for this type of effect. It's kind of cool. So getting on to a size comparison in vehicle form. Well, this is a pickup truck, right? But it is a small pickup truck. And let me bring in the Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Vehicon. Sports car versus pickup truck. And you can see there the scale is not quite right. So there's that. And then you have another size comparison here. Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Skids. Compact car versus pickup truck. Pickup truck should be much bigger if it's actually in scale. So you get an idea of the size there. You know, fits in the palm of my hand pretty much. So there you go. Size comparison. So moving on to the actual transformation into robot mode. First thing you want to do, you want to grab onto the cab section here, lift up, and this whole assembly here is on a hinge joint. So you're going to pull it up like that. Then you want to take the center section of the hood here, and this goes back. And the first time I did this, it was like I was afraid I was going to break something, but you just kind of have to use a little bit of force and get that up and out like that. Then what you can do is you can take the side panels here, which are attached to the hands. So therefore we know these are going to become the arms. Get them out to the side for now. For the legs, the first thing you want to do is you want to rotate up the legs while they're connected together to about this position. And keep your eye on this piece of plastic here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this down and out. And what that does is it actually extends the height of the robot mode. It's a very subtle tip, or not tip, but a subtle transformation. You can leave it like this, it's just fine, but I think you'll find that the actual figure in robot mode will be just a little bit shorter. So they do say to do this in the directions. And they also say to rotate up this, well not rotate, but slide up this all the way for the dramatic head reveal. Then we'll go ahead and separate the legs. And of course this is going to be the front of Kup in robot mode. Rotate the legs around so that they're facing properly. Then you can see here the feet are actually pretty neatly stored here on the side of the leg. And you just want to pull this panel out here like that and then bring out the feet. And do the same thing of course on the other side. Pull the panel out and bring out the feet. So there you got the hips, the legs, the feet, all done. Now, moving to the shoulders here, you want to make sure that the tires here are actually facing towards the back. So you have this piece of plastic facing forward on both sides. And you can see here the panel here folds up neatly and becomes the forearms for Sergeant Kup. Kind of like Popeye arms, because they're the forearms themselves are so big in comparison to the rest of the arm. But you do the same thing over here, of course. And get those properly oriented. So there you go. Now here's the part that's a little tricky. See there's this clear peg here. It's going to peg into there. So you want to make sure that's lined up approximately like there. And then this whole assembly here is going to come down on either side of the head here. And before you do that, what you want to do is you're going to take these shoulder pieces here, slide them out like that. And this whole assembly is going to rotate down. Now this piece of plastic here, which was the wheel arch for the front of the wheels, you actually want to make sure that it's actually going below this blue piece of plastic. So it's going to slide beneath there like that. And then there's two tabs. It's going to tab into the front of the chest like so. And that is where the directions say to leave transformation of Kup into robot mode. And That's the way Hasbro tells you to do it. Now, I watched Pia's review, and he cleverly said you can do this. You can pull this off, and you can reattach it to the back here. And much better, much better. It's sort of cheating, it's sort of parts forming, but I kid you not, if you take a look at the actual packaging for Sergeant Kup, they do the same thing there. I can't tell if they it looks like they actually did the same. Well, actually, it looks like they might have removed the actual panel itself. But anyhow, it's much better that way. So here he is, robot mode. And one of the things to note as we move into articulation here, and we look at the very nice head sculpt, is you can see there it's going to be hard to reach down in here to articulate the head, but you can do that. The actual head appears to be a swivel at the neck, and then down lower in the torso is a ball joint. But you don't really use that ball joint, so I don't know. I'm not sure what the purpose of that ball joint is. But anyways, you do get that. You can see there's ball joints at the shoulders. Whoops, too close. And you have ball joints at the elbows. Below the elbows, there is no articulation. This is one solid piece of plastic in terms of articulation. There is no waist articulation, but you do get very stiff ball joints here, at least on mine. Let me straighten this guy out again. At the hips, swivel at the thigh there, you can see. Bend at the knee. And you do, of course, have these feet, which are on ball joints, which are pretty cool. I love the way that they actually recess in here during the transformation or in alt mode. So that's really cool. So, moving on to weaponry here. Let me get Sergeant Kup here straightened out. Okay. So weaponry, you do have options. You can plug the weapons in the side panels here on both forearms for a Ironhide-like effect. And I will get into Ironhide at the end of the review and explain about that. But there you go, you have that effect. Of course, you can actually simply have them pegged into the hands. Like that. What you also can do is you can combine them, and they should just fit together like this, or is that right? For one long type of weapon here. So that is pretty cool. So you do have that option as well, which I think is must be a signature weapon of Kup, because if we take a look at the Generations Kup, he also has a long rifle, as you can see. And here's a good opportunity to actually compare them side by side here. And actually I need to straighten out the legs to get this guy a little bit taller. There we go. Sorry about that. So there you go. Little size comparison there. And they do share similar features. They both have the cabs hanging off their backs, and their feet form the bed to the pickup. So there is that similarity there. You can take a look at the color difference. More size comparisons. Well, let me bring in Hotshot, aka Bumblebee. Hotshot is just a repaint of Bumblebee there. So you do have Bumblebee Hotshot. Let me bring in Wheeljack here. Whoops, he lost a sword. And like this. So the Sergeant Kup here is scaled, I guess, pretty well. We don't know. I guess we won't know really until he actually shows up in the cartoon, if he does. I shouldn't say cartoon, but the show. He's about the same height as these characters, as you can see. Let me bring in RID Cliffjumper. And let me also bring in, finally, Hunt for the Decepticons Ironhide. I thought this would be appropriate since Ironhide here is basically a pickup truck, much like Sergeant Kup here. Now, I guess this leads me into my comment and my issue about this particular mold. When I originally actually had pre-ordered this figure along with the Decepticon Rumble figure. Now, when I say this figure, I meant this figure was supposed to be... It was sold on Big Bad Toy Store as a 2-pack of Decepticon Rumble and Ironhide. But what we've learned recently is that the retool of Ironhide is not going to be sold in the United States. It's going to be, I guess, an Asia exclusive. So that is disappointing because I actually pre-ordered the set based on the fact that I would get Ironhide and Decepticon Rumble. I'm not that I'm unhappy with Sergeant Kup here, but just to be aware of the fact that if you're expecting Ironhide, then you're going to be disappointed with it because at least here in the United States, we're not going to get Ironhide. Ironhide is going to share the same mold here as the Sergeant Kup figure. So that is a bit disappointing, but the figure itself is pretty neat. It's got really nice articulation. I actually like it a lot. It's a pretty cool figure. And I got this this past weekend at my local Walmart. It's not a Walmart exclusive, but I got it for around $15. Yeah, $15. When these RID figures first came out, they were like $12. And of course, a lot of people can remember back when back in 2008 when deluxe figures were about $10, or less. So it is unfortunate we're getting smaller figures and increased prices, but I guess that's the economy, I guess. So let me go ahead and show you the packaging for Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Sergeant Kup. You got a nice picture there of Sergeant Kup. This does come with a full episode of Transformers Prime. This happens to be the Loose Cannons episode, which actually is the same disc I got with the Decepticon Rumble figure that I reviewed just recently. So you do have this packaging here with the DVD. And of course on the back you have a look at the figure both in robot and in vehicle mode, as well as a bio here. You certainly can read that if you'd like. And on the side you have the little mugshot of Sergeant Kup there and his stats. So yeah, pretty cool. But like I said, I'm disappointed that there's not going to be a domestic release of Ironhide, because that's really what I was looking forward to. But Sergeant Kup is not too bad. So there you go. Thanks for watching. This has been my review of Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Sergeant Kup.